welcome His Excellency President Ali and his cabinet to Berbice, Region 6, for its cabinet outreach has won for his cabinet outreach having won the 2025 election. As a young Barbician, I'm honored and happy to sit here and voice the excitement of the Barbies community as we witness the transformation of Region 6 in the last 5 years. When we drive on our new roads, we can see our emerging stadiums, our fancy state-of-the-art hospitals and schools. Our number 63 beach is undergoing massive beautification, and so much more can be said. But this can only happen because of the caring government we have re-elected, who from 2020 to 2025 show us that we, the people of Berbice, matter and have not been forgotten. However, I know everyone is excited to hear from Mr. President, so I invite Your Excellency to address the media.
Thank you very much. First of all, allow me on behalf of the Cabinet, our members of Parliament for the People's Progressive Party Civic, and our advisors, and of course, our technical officers, to express our strong commitment to all of Guyana, but in particular, emphasizing that commitment here in Region 6. One of the things that we committed to in the 2020 to 2025 period was the involvement of people and the constant accountability to the people of our country in relation to the development, the plans, the programs, and the work of the government. In this second term, we are intensifying that connectivity with the people, with the various regions, and with all of Guyana. The idea is to develop a common platform through which our people can and will have access to every level of government. To this end, we have committed to taking the all of government approach to every region. So every month we will be in a different region, administering every aspect of government and governance from those administrative regions. As I speak to you today, there are still many meetings that are ongoing and meetings that will continue through this evening, tonight, and tomorrow to give us a full and comprehensive understanding of the impact of our investments and, of course, the changing and evolving nature of the priorities of the people from the region. I want to acknowledge today that we have joining us members of the region, not only the MP, but our new regional chairman, Junior Basant. We have the vice chairman, Wajid Shahid Khan. We have Miss Trim. She's somewhere. She's right here. And of course, members of the cabinet, the members of parliament, advisors, and other key functionaries of the government. I am very pleased to report that these outreaches would have encouraged us and would have emphasized the importance of the investments we have made. Between 2020 and 2025, especially in the earlier days of that term, some of the critical priorities in this region would have been drainage and irrigation, agriculture support, health, housing, and issues relating to service delivery by the government. And this, of course, was not strange because we inherited in 2020 a system that subjected our farmers, the productive sector, and the infrastructure in our productive sector to specific treatment. And that treatment not only destroyed the productive sector, but destroyed our farmers and other entrepreneurs and people who work in the business. You will recall the extraordinary increases in land rental, D&I charges, the imposition of VAT and taxes on agricultural equipment, production equipment. You would have recalled also the disinterest in investing in education and healthcare to the extent that we had massive regression in this region. Today, as we completed the analysis so far, D&I is now the lowest ranked priority for the region. And that is not to say there is still not a lot of work to be done, but that is to say that people are experiencing the results of the investments that we have made. And this is an important aspect of public policy. When you see the results of your investment changing the policy profile or the priority profile from communities and regions. And we are seeing this clearly here in this region. We are seeing investment in healthcare, education, changing the priority listing. But it's important that we continue to make these investments to keep the gains that we have made whilst continuing the work of removing the additional challenges. We have also seen new priorities emerging. And these priorities are not strange, given the fact that today more and more young people are empowered and encouraged towards home ownership. We see the number one priority now, so far from the analysis in the region, being housing, followed by lands and survey land issues, followed by the desire to own small businesses, local government and public works issues, human services, and public service generally, education, health, and denied services. What this point to is that our people now are becoming very aligned to the policy agenda of the government. So issues of home ownership, owning small businesses, owning agricultural land and expanding agricultural production, quality of service, whether it's GWI, GPL, health services, that these are now occupying the priority of people. Sanitation services in the community, beautification services, landfill services, and markets and public spaces ranking very high on the priority. And all of these priorities from the region itself, from the people themselves, were positioned in a very positive manner, in the sense that they were positioned in relation to the long-term national impact and implication for economic growth and transformation in the region. This region is going to undergo massive infrastructure, economic, and investment transformation, not only from the gas, but in terms of tourism, in terms of modern infrastructure, healthcare, education, private investment, the new Demerara River Bridge, the Quarantine River Bridge, the connection with Oriala and Siparuta by land, the investment in education, healthcare, landfill sites, markets, the building out of waterfront facilities. All of this we have been talking about. But today I want to highlight for the people in Region 6 the priorities that we have examined last night and to outline to them some of the strategies that we will be engaging as a government in dealing with those priorities. Because last night, after we completed the first phase of meetings and consultations, and during the course of this morning, we were able to, from a policy perspective, with a wider group that I spoke of, look at these challenges in the context of our manifesto, and quite impressively, our manifesto is aligned identically with the priorities of the people. And that is because the manifesto was developed bottom up with the involvement of the people, with consultation and building a team approach to what we want to accomplish as a government and as a people. So today, I want to press to know that we are focusing heavily on Region 6 today. And I want to look at some of the key areas and what we want to achieve. First of all, in support of our government's ambitious national digitization agenda and the mandate to deliver faster, more accessible public service, we have decided that in this region, we will build out three what we call government services hub, an integrated services hub, which will include all the services for immigration, for GRA, licensing, and importantly, connecting the NDCs with these hubs, with the regions with these hubs, and then integrating into the national hub so that each of these facilities will have a help desk, and that desk will allow citizens to connect directly with every layer of government, because we are moving into a people-centered, citizens-centered approach to development, a citizens-centered approach to problem solving. No issue must be allowed to escape the loop of government. So we're closing that loop in a very comprehensive and integrated way. The key services, as I said, we want to target include immigration, passport services, new passport applications, renewals of license that GRA offers, online appointment bookings, registration of births, deaths, and marriage certificates, as well as change of names, electronic ID, applications and issuance, and all transaction that relates to a government agency. These integrated platforms are going to support those services. Now, I've already said to you what some of the key areas are. And I want to give the people of Region 6 an understanding, because we believe that we must be accountable and we must not shy away from the data and information that is available to us and must be available to the people. Lands and survey, as I said, was one of the areas that generated significant interest. In this region, we have total applications in the system, 289 applications. Now, while that number seems small, the requests per application in terms of the total acreage of land that is applied for is far beyond the supply available. So first, we must recognize that there is a demand-supply mismatch of land available at the Guyana Lands and Survey. Of the 289 applications in the system, 89 applications are at the head office, that is in Georgetown, and 200 files are at New Amsterdam, Skeldon, and Blackbush Polder, awaiting further documents, or many of them are very old. Now, what is the available acreage in this region, available to Guyana Lands and Survey in this region, because it's important for us to know this. We have 1,000 acre available at U Matriate. We have 1,000 acres surveyed there. We have 5,000 acres at Mara, which needs 4 miles of road extension to allow access to these lands. We have 20,000 acres available for cattle pasture, surveyed into 100 acres plot. We have 3,000 acres at the back of Manarabisi. We have 15,000 acres along the Quarantine River between El Dorado and Oriala boundary. That is what is available. The new acreage that we are pursuing total 24,000 acres. So these are the lands that are available and that we are pursuing at the moment. Outside of this, we have a number of areas to be regularized. Liverpool, we have 52 plots where regularization would have been completed. Manchester, second depth, we have 59 plots completed. Then we have number 50 village, Leeds. The work there completed and it's now before the land court, right, AG?
Yes, sir.
And it's now before the land court. Now for the forest registration. Now, what are the steps we're going to take to further expedite our work to regularize all areas and to have the ownership of land by title or deed completed? The first is that we recognize the burdensome load that is before the Guyana Lands and Survey Commission. We're therefore going to expand the capacity of the Guyana Lands and Survey Commission with a special project team that will look at all outstanding applications here for Region 6. Secondly, 70 families at number 46 village who have been living on lands for generations dating back to over 100 years will get titles for those lands before June 2026. Over 25 of these will be ready by the end of January 2026, and the rest completed before June. The state purchased the land from private persons and distributed to those who have been in occupation, and therefore the occupants now get clean title. It's important, exactly, as AG is reminding, that the state has borne and will continue to bear all of the costs related to these transactions. The legal fees, the surveying fees, the filing fees, and the acquisition. And I think this is not only commendable, but this must be the first country in which the state is acting in this manner in the interests of our people. The third issue, which is a very difficult issue in this region, and we must admit this, is that there are dozens of co-op societies that have become defunct. They own or have in their possession hundreds of acres of lands that persons have been occupying without leases. We have to take steps now to vest these leases in the occupants' names. But that comes not without challenge. The AG will tell you that almost on a weekly basis, there is a legal filing. There are controversies. There are challenges to land ownership. And one of the effect of those challenges is that it delay this block surveys and the registration of those block surveys. So two conflict in an entire block can hold up the entire block, the leases or titles for that entire block. So we are going to take steps now to address this issue. In this regard, we now would set up a special team to conduct occupational survey with the inclusion of communities themselves and grant leases from the master lease. This will bring the leases in line with lawful land occupation. Cabinet will appoint a subcommittee to treat specifically with other land issues across the region with a view of regularizing occupation. This subcommittee will be working on the ground to receive reports on all challenges and issues that will help us to make informed decisions. We have received many complaints, and we are very concerned about these complaints, that the legal aid services in Region 6 is not functioning as effectively and efficiently as we would like it to function. It's important to note that legal aid allows citizens equity to justice and equity to representation. We're therefore going to work on a specific program to expand legal aid throughout this region and put in place a supervision, a level of supervision by the government that would allow us to track and be on top of these issues in relation to legal aid. The residents of Oriala and Separuta would have raised the need for a magistrate court as they have to travel all the way to Skeldon to have their matters addressed. So we're going to utilize technology and with the aid of the containerized offices, establish a footprint for the people in Separuto and Oriala to have access from one of those communities to the magistrate court. The second issue, or the second priority, is that of housing. Between 2025 and 2030, to meet the demand, the current demand, not the additional demand that will come, it will require an investment of more than $50 billion in this region. The number of applications we have in the system is close to 8,500. From January to October 2025 alone, we had brought this down significantly. But Colin will tell you that between January to October 2025 alone, we have received 3,124 new applications. And Ashley, if you look, and Colin will tell you, if you look at the reasons, that is a direct response to the policy agenda of the government, incentivizing home ownership and creating an enabling environment to stimulate home ownership. And that is a result of specific policy interventions. As I speak to you today, the available lots under infrastructure upgrade will be 4,600. Molson Creek, 1,200. Palmyra, 1,300. Glasgow, 2,300. So that when you look at the current demand, And what we have in the system, there is a deficit of 3,249, of which we still have to find land for. Therefore, the Central Housing and Planning Authority will be looking towards the acquisition of land in new areas. Springlands, number 77, Hawkstye, and looking at opportunities to further expand Mollison Creek area. We have also been receiving a lot of commercial business proposals, and over the next 3 weeks, the ministry will be examining those proposals so that we can make the necessary allocations. In terms of informal settlements, we will be regularizing 25 such settlements, which will result in the regularization of almost 2,000 house lots. These areas include Nick, Belvedere, and Hampshire. One of the complaints is that of the parking of heavy-duty equipment along the roadways, the public roadways, and the community roads. And that is because of the pace of development in the region. We are therefore in the process of completing 230 acres development. Right, Colin? Huh? 230 acres. 230 acres development in Palmyra and number 76 village, where we will have public spaces for lease so that these equipment can be off of the road, leading to safety, road safety, and also removing the encumbrance it causes on the roadways. This brings me to the Ministry of Home Affairs. Some of the key areas that we're going to address from the Ministry of Home Affairs include community policing and public security. We're going to expand the Smart Country project in a more aggressive way here in this region, deploying more CCTV cameras to cover the entire region, the establishment of a CPG desk at every police station. We're going to resuscitate the 25 inactive CPG groups and establish an additional 10. We're going to establish child, family, and GBV space at every police station. And we're going to look at integrating our social workers that the Ministry of Human Services would have trained at these police stations to create a more customer-friendly, customer-oriented service, people-oriented service at the various police stations. Now, because of the massive housing development, one of the needs now is to have these small police units, more agile and flexible units in the communities with great depth. So we're going to invest in about 50 of those units across this region, making policing and police more community-centered, people-centered, and community-oriented, and bringing a greater sense of presence in every single community. The Guyana Fire Service immediately we will be establishing 4 new fire stations to shorten the emergency response time. You'll recall that We have invested in firefighting units for every NDC in the municipality, but those units now must be backed by fire hydrants and available water storage and capacity areas within every community. So the priority in the next 6 months will not only be on expanding our infrastructure, but putting in place these fire hydrants in every community, especially our urban and suburban areas. Road safety is also a key area, and you will see a massive education program, road marking program, road signage program rolled out in Region 6 in the coming weeks. You'll also see that the expansion of the new 4-lane road would have specific road safety mechanisms in place to make our roadways safer. Now, the Ministry of Local Government, as you will be aware, would have commenced work across the country dealing with landfill sites, markets, beautification, citizenry inclusion and involvement in development, and the improvement in the governance and service delivery at the NDC level. And we are going to pursue these initial areas vigorously. The government in this region, in our discussions last night, would have committed to the rehabilitating of market facilities across this region. And let me say that in this region, we have about 16 markets. Priya? Huh? How much in this region we are targeting? 7 markets. In this region we'll be targeting. In the entire country is 28 permanent markets. And the initial work in these markets will include ensuring they have proper stalls, proper flooring and drainage facility, proper roofing, ventilation, ceilings, sanitation, waste disposal facilities, receptacles for vendors and consumers, predictability in the clearing of bins, the clearing of garbage, adequate lighting and available water and other utilities, safety features, including fire safety and prevention measures, security, and importantly, market management committees that work in the interest of the vendors and consumers of the market. We have had cause today to read the Riot Act on the management of the Skeldon market, because of the administrative burden they have implemented without any consultation with the ministry or the region, making it difficult for the vendors and the consumers. So we are also going to establish a national committee that will be integrated with all of these local market committees to ensure the infrastructure, the functionality, the investment, and the market themselves are part and represent part of the transformation and the positive imaging of the region and the communities that we want to portray. Our markets are going to be important parts of our orange economy, important parts of our tourism and cultural economy. We therefore have to invest, and not only invest, but ensure that the management of the markets bring the continuous results for the investments that we're making. Secondly, our landfill sites. In Region 6, we're committed to making sure our waste is disposed of in a predictable, safe, environmentally approved, and acceptable manner. To this end, we are constructing or rehabilitating landfill sites in 2 areas in the region. But we are also looking for new areas, because in landfill sites, we also have to deal with medical waste. So, in the 2026 budget, you will see specific allocation dealing with landfill sites. Roads and access to these sites are already receiving our attention. For a matter of fact, we want to have these roads and accessibility to these sites completed so that in 2026, we will be able to focus heavily on the development of the sites themselves. And when we speak of landfill sites here, these are modern sites that we are going to invest in. Not garbage sites, proper landfill sites. Already we're investing in garbage compactors, trucks, and bins for every NDCs, all of the NDCs. Now, the garbage compactors are not only the trucks. We are looking to establish in every market, every urban and suburban area, large compactors so that businesses can take their garbage to those large compactors. It can be the garbage can be processed, making it easier for the picking up and disposal of those garbage. So we'll be investing in compactors for all of these urban and suburban areas, markets, and other public areas in the first instance. We will also be building out our suburban areas. We have said that quality of life is important. Families, women, children, the elderly must have safe areas that they can go for wellness, for recreation, for health reasons, and our communities must have good access to recreational facility. With the office of the First Lady, we are going to be working on 4 additional sites. On 18 other villages to the 4 sites that we have now. New Amsterdam, Brothers, number 63, and Lonsdale. The 18 other sites will include areas like the Polders, Firish, Cumberland, Kilcoy, Manchester. These are some of the areas. These facilities will include play areas, areas that will stimulate creativity, adding to the orange economy, areas that would be dedicated for children. The areas will be built in such a way that it is friendly for those who require special assistance, because we want every group in our community, in our region, to enjoy these facilities. The Ministry of Labor and Manpower Planning would also be investing heavily in expanding industrial training. In this region right now, we have massive demand, and with the type of development that will be coming in the next 5 years, we'll have massive demand for operators, tech, technical service employees, and persons who would need technical skills and certification to function in the new economy that we're building here in Region 6. So the Ministry of Labor will be launching an aggressive expansion of their industrial training programs in the region, labor services, recruitment through our Skills Connect, Job Bank, and Central Recruitment Agency will be intensified in the region so that we can know the skill gap that exists. And you know, in this region, you already have the most modern technical training center in this hemisphere. And you'll have one of the most modern hospitality training institute in this hemisphere very soon also. Health continues to be an important area for investment. We're looking to complete the New Amsterdam Hospital, that will be a level 5, that is the highest level hospital. The completion of the state-of-art nursing school, multi-purpose training facility, that's an investment of $1.2 billion. And we want all our young people who want to be nurses to register on the program and to get trained right here in your region. We're going to complete the dormitory for the nursing school, which is an investment of another $500 million. The completion of the regional distribution center, the drug distribution center, that will bring greater efficiency in the supply and delivery of drugs at the community level and at the household level. We want a seamless integration. Supply chain management, investment in supply chain that would allow us to have direct connection with patients to ensure that the service that they're getting, and at every one of these new facilities, the new hospitals, we're going to put a customer service desk where patients can report to if they experience bad service. And that report goes up into the system and would influence the payment of gratuity, it would influence promotion, and it would influence the way in which disciplinary measures will be applied in the public service. So those customer service desks will be integrated in the service delivery platform of the government. We are also very concerned from a health perspective of the numbers in this region in relation to diabetes and also persons who require dialysis. And the Ministry of Health will be expanding its dialysis facilities at the various hospitals and clinics. But we don't want this to be the solution. We have to invest to ensure we prevent you from reaching to the stage of dialysis. And the Ministry of Health will be rolling out specific measures to deal with this issue at the grassroots level here in this region. The Ministry of Education. We're expected to launch the Guyana Digital School, which will give 24/7 access to education, leading to improved CSEC performance, greater equity. So far in this region, we have close to 1,000 persons enrolled on the Guyana Digital School. We're targeting to take this enrollment to at least 5,000 before the launch of the school in early December. We have the Education Management Information System that will allow real-time data for better decision making, including attendance, performance of teachers, teacher information, and school operations. We have already started to invest in reducing the administrative workload on head teachers in the schools and on teachers so they can focus more of their time on teaching and not be burdened with the administrative requirements of the job. We're going to invest in improved monitoring. 40% of schools are already using the system, and we hope that before the end of the first half of next year, that we'll have 100% of schools utilizing the system. We're also going to launch data analytics to help us understand areas of weaknesses among students and teachers in the region, all geared at improving our exam results at CSEC and NGSA. One of the issues raised on the ground is that of student transfer. Apparently, we have a lot of challenges with student transfer. So we're going to establish a special team that will review all of these requests for student transfer. And then we'll come up with a set of intervention to address this issue. We're going to launch the teachers' online service for faster processing of their leave, retirement benefits, travel permission. We want to create a more efficient system so that our teachers are not only able to access services in a more efficient way, but they're able to spend more of their time in the classroom. We're going to launch an anti-bullying app that would focus on improved school safety, better tracking of bullying trends, and better reporting and intervention systems. Education resource distribution software that will allow accurate tracking of school needs, more equitable distribution of textbooks, furniture, grants, and devices, reduce wastage and shortages, and enhance transparency. Expanded university seats, and this is exciting, especially today, where we have many of our children graduating at secondary school. Within the next 2 weeks, students of this region will have local access to tertiary education in important areas, engineering and the health sector. Your children would be able to study engineering and earn their engineering diplomas and degrees and certificates right here in Region 6. There will be no need for them to leave this region because we are bringing that education here in Region 6. So too, for your children who want to do medicine, the pre-medicine program will now be available right here in Region 6. This will allow reduced burden on families, reduce traveling costs, greater efficiency, and more comfort in relation to the studying environment of our children. Another important issue raised is that of special needs development. And we're going to be investing in this region to have increased access to special education with 4 new spaces created and 3 more coming. So you'll have 7 new spaces. Improve student outcomes, supported by a modern 2025 curriculum tailored for learners with disability. And we're going to make this digital so that these children can also access it from their homes. Better health and participation, thanks to the inclusion of the school feeding program and earlier identification of challenges, as all nursery year 2 teachers are now screened and will be screened in screening for different forms of disability. Stronger teacher capacity, with 14 teachers completing gold degrees in special needs education. This would lead to a more inclusive education system. Now, in relation to public utilities, aviation, and maritime, I want to point to a few key investments that we're going to make in Region 6 to further enhance the delivery of service in this region. The Guyana Water Inc. will be making significant investments in New Amsterdam with the water treatment plant, the construction of new well and water treatment plant at Adventure, the installation of a 300 kV grid-tie solar system at the Port Morant water treatment plant, the drilling of new wells in Port Morant, Johanna, and Yakasari, the installation of PV systems in New Amsterdam water treatment plant, pump stations and buildings, and the installation of inline filters at Glasgow to improve water quality. This would allow us to achieve not only higher water pressure, but also take us to having 100% treated water availability here in Region 6. The Guyana Power and Light, and I know that many of you are concerned about the weaknesses in the system, but many of you would have also acknowledged the enormous improvement in the system since we have been making the investments. We're going to, between 2025 and 2027, develop solar farm at Hampshire. Today, I think you commissioned that. And Prospect, which will be commissioned, Prime Minister, very soon. 108 km of 330 kV and 69 kV transmission lines will be installed. You've installed 92 kilometers of 13.8 kV distribution feeders. Between 2025 and 2026, we'll construct two new substations at number 53 in Williamsburg. We'll construct 850, we'll add to the grid 850 unserved customers. Between 2025 and 2026, we will deploy greater technical resources to reduce, in common term, the low voltage or low shedding, to reduce the time of non-availability of power and disruptions as a result of inefficiency in the capacitor bank of our system. These are the investments that we're going to make. In aviation, of course, the new Rose Hall International Airport, very soon you'll see the RFP published for this facility that will drive tourism with the type of development and expansion in the economy that will take place here. This is going to be an important piece of infrastructure. In the maritime sector, the dredging of the Berbice River to facilitate increased traffic, and of course, the building and construction of the new Berbice River Bridge and installation of aids to navigation. We're also going to launch a river safety awareness program, especially for our fisher folk, encouraging them to use technology and to stay in connection with shore. We have launched it. We're expanding it. We want this not only the monitoring device, but the internet, the Starlink. Thank you, thank you, Charles. The Starlink program expanded to support our fisher folks. The quarantine highway upgrade, you have seen work started on that. I've made it very clear that we are dissatisfied with the performance of the two contractors on the bridges on this highway. And a special investigation will be launched in the performance of these contractors and the engineers supervising these works. And there will be consequential action. The installation of approximately 4,500 lights, highway lights, the building out of sidewalks and drainage, the construction of 160 kilometers of sidewalks with covered drains, pedestrian safety and enhanced stormwater management, road signage, traffic signal, meeting global standards, including new signalized intersections at Rose Hall and Kanji, management of strays on our roadways, the safety of our animal, and the building out of facilities to support the safety of our animals, the expansion of the roadways, the 4-lane highway to improve traffic flow and reduce congestion. The pedestrian and traffic safety features would include modern road markings, designated parking areas. Importantly, a diversion will be created at Rose Hall and Corriverton to avoid the existing congestion that we have. An important issue raised is that of derelict vehicle removal the removal of abandoned and derelict cars, buses, machinery, and trailers along the corridor, with all units transferred to a stockpile. This initiative includes the clearing and scrapping of derelict assets to ease roadside congestion, improve safety, and enhance the overall appearance of the roadway. Immediate, immediate road maintenance. All primary road maintenance activity will be carried out by the contractor, ensuring timely and continuous upkeep of the corridor. The Ministry of Public Works will provide additional support by undertaking selected maintenance tasks as needed to complement the contractor's effort. Traffic management plan for each of the structure on the highway. And if we find that the contractors are not adhering to the contract in terms of the safety measures that are required contractually at each of these sites, the AG has been instructed to take legal action against such contractors, especially if that neglect lead to the death or injury of persons. So we want contractors to be placed on notice, because in every contract, resources are earmarked to do justice. The Ministry of Public Works will be launching an education program on accident prevention measures at these sites. A detailed review of the supervision and oversight of these works will be conducted, and the contractors in the ministry will be working immediately on the installation of temporary lighting at these sites to add to road safety measures. Sea defenses, mangrove depletion and coastal protection measures. We have noted the significant depletion of mangrove at very vulnerable areas. We're therefore going to, with the use of technology, have an active monitoring of mangrove depletion so that we can understand the vulnerability that this erosion would put communities, the level of risk it would put communities at. We are going to be constructing 3 kilometers of riprap reinforcement in critical areas across Region 6. Some of this will commence before the end of this year. We'll be looking at strengthening sea defense structures to reduce wave impact along critical sections of the coastline. The Ministry of Public Works will be engaging the Ministry of Agriculture and nearby farm operators to develop a more coordinated plan for the management of seawater intrusion. This includes establishing a clear standard operating procedure for water management, monitoring salinity levels, protecting agricultural lands from saltwater damage, and integrated sea defense planning. Future sea defense work will incorporate green space consideration, including for recreational facility, tourism, opportunity for mangrove restoration, buffer zones for natural coastal ecosystem, environmentally sustainable shoreline stabilization measures, and the continuation of works at Number 63 Village. We are going to work with at least 100 young people, of which 60% must be women below the age of 35, on the building out of a bread and breakfast tourism facility to accompany the enormous work that the First Lady is doing there at the 63 village. This will create 100 new entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs here in Region 6. An important project in Oriala and Separuta is the building out of the all-weather road connection that is 7 kilometers from Corriverton to El Dorado. But we have to make an engineering decision on the swamp area. The Ministry of Agriculture will be examining this area to see whether we can utilize this for the expansion of the swamp shrimp project because of the large expanse of swamp that we have there. From Oriala to Kwakwani, that 80 kilometers of road is also being looked at. 60% is already completed, right, Bishop Egil? 60 kilometers is already completed, and the last phase of 20 will be completed. The Ministry of Human Services will also be actively pursuing plans here, and that is some exciting news because all of the persons trained in child care and elderly care will be integrated into a national system that will see the development of thousands of business opportunities and will see direct support in the communities for child care and elderly care. You will see massive investment in digitization, in support for people living with disability, the expansion of the WIN training, including the UK City and Guilds program, the program under the First Lady Office with the Ministry of Human Services also, where we'll now create specific desks for persons living with disability, from GPL, GWI, e-networks coming on board, looking to get GTNT, Digicel, and every service-oriented organization on board, so that in that facility, we can have at least 30 persons living with disability providing customer-oriented services for government and other private sector agencies. A major program will be the building out of care economy by investing in facilities at the level of household and community. The establishment of specific centers to deal with men empowerment, women empowerment, family empowerment, mental health, the amplification of efforts towards persons living with disability, and creating safe spaces for children, women, and other vulnerable groups. The Ministry of Human Services would also be intensifying its efforts in dealing with public assistance, pensions, and other forms of support for vulnerable groups. For a matter of fact, we have agreed that a special commission by the President will be appointed to review all the cases in this region and all the other regions. So by the end of the third quarter, we will have an independent assessment of all the cases that will be referred to this committee for public assistance or other form of support. The Ministry of Agriculture will also be expanding its program to support our rice farmers, bringing an additional 15,000 acres into new cultivation, expanding production with higher yielding varieties, with a view of achieving 40 to 45 bags per acre. The expansion of seed processing facility. We're examining many initiatives that will reduce the cost of production for our farmers, improve the infrastructure, roads, dams, storage canals, drainage facility, farm to market access road, so that we can access an additional 75,000 acres of land for rice cultivation. Value added and diversification for promoting agro-processing. In this region, we want at least in every 10 acre, 1 acre to be dedicated to diversification. Whether it's livestock, crab cage farming, high yielding crop, we are going to support the transition of at least 1 acre in every 10 acre. The expansion of extension services 24/7 with the use of technology and the promotion of precision agriculture, again with the use of technology supported by the Ministry of Agriculture. The launching of an information matrix for education and data that would allow farmers to have what we call the Palm app, that is from their phone, having access to extension services, education services, and a platform where they can communicate directly with the extension officer for support from the field. And this system will be tracked on the service delivery platform of the government. Sugar is an important part of the economy here in Region 6, and we're going to continue to invest, but we have to get the returns on our investment. We have to have the increased production at Albion and Rosal Estate. We're working now, we have a team coming from India that is looking at the reopening of the Skeleton Estate to produce 37,000 tons of sugar by 2030 at that estate, and to have the private farmers once again integrated in the system. The modernization and mechanization, accelerate the field conversion from traditional to fully mechanized layout. We are looking at 100% field mechanization by 2030, and the deployment of multi-spectral imaging drones to improve crop monitoring. We're also looking at value addition and diversification. Already we have a proposal from a local and foreign joint venture on a sugar refinery plant. Investment in research, training, and technology transfer, and importantly, developing a performance matrix for management next year. And if management cannot meet the indicators on the matrix, they will be removed. The Pandey syndrome in Gaisuku must be removed. And the Pandey syndrome is mismanagement and poor management disguised under class and fanciful language. The Pandey mismanagement syndrome will be eradicated from this industry. The National Drainage and Irrigation Agency must be commended for the work that they have done in this region. And I want to applaud the work. However, there is still a lot of work to be done. The completion of the Hope-like canals will develop drainage and irrigation services for additional 15,000 acres. Farmlands between Manarabisi will be severely improved. Additionally, the Hope-like Canal will provide flood protection for 55,000 acres of farming and residential use. This project, as you know, involved the construction of 42.2 kilometers of flood embankment and 102 kilometers of internal drains, high-level channel at 30.793 kilometers at Liverpool, Lancaster, and 5274 Village. It includes 2 high-level sluices at these locations and an additional pump station and sluice will be installed at 4546 Village with a contractual cost and investment of more than $7 billion to date. The construction of 18 kilometers access road, the development of agricultural lands at Mollison Jackson Creek, region number 6, the construction of pump station at Blackbush Polar to irrigate Blackbush Polar frontlands, East Berbice Quarantine, and the operation and maintenance of DNI system across the region. We are also going to continue with the maintenance of all of the system to ensure that we don't regress on the gains that we've already made. The beautification of Region 6, the modernization of existing parks in New Amsterdam, Corriverton, Lonsdale, Brothers, with improved drainage, lighting, landscaping, safety, and public amenities. The completion of major ongoing projects at number 63 Village. The creation of a network of new community parks. Establish a chain of 25 new community parks across Region 6 over the medium term. The beautification through flower gardens and green spaces. Convert open spaces across the region into flowering gardens and landscaping public spaces. Model multipurpose recreational center at Palmyra. Standardized park designs with walkway, fences, playsets, benches, sanitary blocks, vending units. Waterfront development in Corriverton, New Amsterdam. The establishment of a regional parks maintenance system, the creation of a regional parks maintenance committee, the implementation of a coordinated maintenance plan across RDCs and NDCs, the promotion of climate resilient green development to introduce green climate resilient recreational designs, the introduction of park policing, soft policing in the parks. The overall vision is to build a vibrant, inclusive, well-connected network of green and recreational spaces across Region 6, support youth development, family recreation, community pride, and a healthier lifestyle, positioning Region 6 as a model of modern, climate-smart, suburban development. I want to commend also the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, although they have a lot of work still to do, for the work in the improvement of the recreational facility, the completion of the synthetic track project, now 85% completed, laying of the synthetic material currently still to be completed but affected by the rain, the Berbice Multipurpose Stadium, Palmyra, the One Guyana Stadium, which is 60% completed, the construction of boxing facility at Angais Avenue, the ground enhancement projects, the upgrade of 75 grounds, 11 ongoing, 65 completed, but the building out of a comprehensive maintenance program across the region. Floodlights installed or in the process of being installed at 26 grounds. 70% of this completed. We're hoping to have all of it completed by the end of January 2026. The development of vocational training facilities, the upgrade of the Albion Sports Facility to an Albion Cricket Academy. Major work is already ongoing. The development of cultural spaces, creative spaces, in keeping with the holistic build-out of the orange economy. Dance and recording studios across the region, and the building out of sports and recreational facility across every area in this region. You will see a massive push forward by this ministry in the building out of the orange economy in the coming weeks and months. So, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, that is a brief synopsis of the work over the last 2 days. But I know your questions will allow me to give you a more comprehensive and more insightful understanding of the development taking place in this region. And if your questions so provoke a more intense understanding of the development, the team is ready and able here to complement and supplement the information set that we have placed before you so generously this afternoon. So the floor is all yours, beginning with the reporters from Region 6.
Thanks, Mr. President. Good afternoon. Andrew Carmichael from the Guyana Times Evening News. Just clarity, when you were speaking about the lands and survey, and I think 286 lands, the first applications, you mentioned 500 for Mara. Just before that, you said there are 1,000, and what you said, the name of the place was not very clear. I don't know if you can check it, please.
No, Maritrait area.
That's 500.
Yes.
But there were
those are
1,000 somewhere
areas.
else.
Those are areas that we have the available lands now. And we're going to give you the details if you want.
But the 1,000, the 1,000, what was the name of that place? You mentioned it just before Maro.
No, New Maritrait. New Maritrait is 1,000 acres. The 5,000 acres is Mara, the Mara area. Right? Right, Zulfi? Next question.
Since I have the mic, if I can continue.
As long as you wish.
Mr. President,
The
we have
Region 6 reporters have the latitude today.
the Berbice River Bridge being free, and since then we have seen more persons traversing. Could you say, or maybe our Public Works Minister say, how much vehicles will be crossing the river, average, per month since August 1st? I've been trying to get that information.
Bishop, I know we have the figures because they shared that figure with me recently. Bishop, you have that figure? We can get that figure for you easily. See if you can call and get that figure. But I can say it's a massive increase in traffic. And by the way, you will see the work, we are advancing the work on having the new Berbice River Bridge advanced.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Sherman Walker, Kaiser News. I know I speak on behalf of a lot of Barbicians, but I know the drivers will not agree with me. But since the bridge fees would have been reduced, these drivers are refusing to drop the rates. It's still $25,000 per head. 2,500, sorry. 2,500 per head, and these drivers are saying the vehicle parts and all of that. Is there any plan by the government to engage the drivers to at least reduce since the bridge is fee?
I think you are fully well aware that the Minister of Public Works and other ministers have been engaging the drivers, taxi drivers, minibus drivers on this issue of fare increases. We live in an open economy, but an economy that must have a social conscience. And we are saving Barbicians billions of dollars in an annualized way with that free river bridge crossing. I'm happy that you've raised this matter, and as you rightfully position, we've removed all the taxes on fuel. We have done a survey basically, and when you look at spare parts and increases in spare part, there has been no exponential increase in spare parts. And our investment in our roadways is also reducing the wear and tear on vehicles. So that also contributes to a reduced cost of operation. Remember, I told you our question will allow me to expand on some of these things. So when you look at the building out of roads, people only see the roads. They don't see the reduced costs and wear and tear, the improvement in road safety, the reduced transportation time, that reduce environmental impact. Because if you have reduced transportation time, you have reduced fuel consumption, which is reduced emissions. All right? Anyone else from Region 6?
Yes, BBS from the Ghana Chronicle.
Yes.
I wanted to ask about Palmyra, the mall and the hotel that is slated. Any update on those and are other investors coming on board? Also, the airport, the airstrip in Rosal Kanji, if you can expand on that, the plans for that, and what does it mean for the people of Kanji who now has more life that the Rosal estate is operating. And this year we saw our first drag race in Region 6. And is there plan to expand on this? We're seeing a growing love for that sport. And so does the government have any plans to bring that to Region 6?
Yeah, we have plans to build out an entire orange economy in this region, which includes sports, culture, tourism, food, the cultural market. So massive investment in that area. By the way, the increase in traffic on the Barbados Bridge is 33%. 33% increase in traffic. Okay? Now, outside of that, the new airport will in no way derail our plans on sugar. It will complement what we're doing at Sugar and Rosal. So I want to make that very clear. This is closely aligned with the type of industrial manufacturing, transport and logistics, tourism, agriculture, transformation that will take place in this region. And it will become an absolute necessity to support the economy that we are building out in this region. That is why that is so important. The Minister of Housing will tell you that we have been having an overwhelming interest in Palmyra from investors, international, regional, and national, of a national nature. And we're hoping that you will see some accelerated development in this area very soon. For a matter of fact, many of the developers who have been allocated land there for hotels and so on, they've already been issued the notices, and they have committed to the commencement of work before the end of this year. And many of those projects, according to their timelines, are slated to be completed within 18 to 24 months. Anyone else?
Excellency, good afternoon, everybody.
Where are you from?
I'm sorry, Sharon Ramnot, NCN. My
Thank you.
apologies. I just got caught up with your brief synopsis of almost an hour. So sorry, my apologies. Um,
It's not for
I,
me. The viewers will not want to know you. They'll want to
apart,
know who is under those dark glasses.
you want me to take it out?
No, no, not at all. Please.
Apparently, your 2 day um, cabinet outreach was very successful because listening to your synopsis again, you would have already implemented policies to take care of all the issues, if any, affecting the region. My thing is, Mr. President, I don't know if you would have mentioned it before, but the Quarantine River Bridge is a critical link for the continuous development of the region. Is there any update on where the talks are between Suriname and Guyana on this bridge? Thank you very much, sir.
So we are waiting on our Surinamese counterpart. As you know, there was a change in government, and they are in their uh, phase of uh, understanding the fullness of the project. And we have commenced discussions with them, and we are hoping that by the first quarter next year, we'll be in a position to make a decision jointly and to move this project forward. But what I can say is that the new government would have also committed to us that this project is important for both countries and one they would also like to pursue.
Good afternoon, everyone, Mr. President and Cabinet. In relation to the construction of the new Berbice River Bridge, I hear there are talks ongoing. As it regards to the location, has the government decided on that? And also in relation to the expansion of the Quarantine Highway, not the bridge. I know you spoke about that. How are works progressing? Your views on that, and how many contractors are working on that? Thank you.
Right. So I believe that we have been able to finalize our work on the design, and work on the financing is already finalized. One section of the road, I think, work would have started, right, Ejel? Lot two. So you can see that, and I'm sure you saw it. Uh, the new Barbados River Bridge will have no impact in terms of the location because it will be in close proximity with the existing location. We can go now to the wider media. Suella, are you hearing us? So can we go to the wider media? Minister Kwame is going to coordinate this.
We have several of those media houses online, so we'll ask you to please identify, well, indicate to us by the show of hand in the Zoom room, and to so proceed by stating your name and the media house you represent. Who do we start with?
Guyana Publication Inc.
Yes, let's start with you.
Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Good afternoon, members of the cabinet. This is Khadija Bakasar. Can you hear me?
Who is it?
This is Khadija Bakasar.
Oh,
Can you
Khadija.
hear me?
Khadija.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. President, you warned contractors working on the Yontanam Main Road of sanctions over poor work. And I know during your presentation,
You are the different press conference. I did not speak about poor work. I spoke about the pace of which the work is being done and our dissatisfaction at the pace of which the work is being done.
okay, okay, all right.
So change your headline now, because I can see you already wrote a headline.
All right. So let's go with that then. What Okay, let me just change my question. A special audit by the Auditor General has raised concerns about the way the NDIA has managed its assets in Region 6. What can you say will be done differently to address those concerns?
Can you quote which section of the report are you reading from?
So this was the special audit.
No, no, I know. I understand that you're speaking generally about the report.
I'm speaking specifically about the special audit that the Audit General did on NDIE when they were speaking about the record keeping. It was a section on record keeping.
Yes. Okay. So as you know, a comprehensive response has been made to the report, and in that response, NDI would have already outlined the measures they've implemented, the procedures they've implemented, and all of the outstanding issues that were highlighted. NDI would have already responded and would have already implemented systems in keeping with the recommendations of the Auditor General. You're welcome. Next. I'm sure all the media heard the beautiful plans and work of Region 6, and they will want to ask and recognize those work by referring to those plans and to seek even greater clarity on those plans in keeping with their joint commitment for a beautiful Guyana, a progressive Region 6, and a highly developed Region 6 in Guyana. So don't be shy. Ask the questions on Region 6. Okay, there being no other question, then thank you very much.
Are they on the from the Barbies media?
Any questions? So please, we're giving you an opportunity. Is the media being shy today? Or we come back to Region 6? DPI? Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and cabinet members. Sir, you mentioned the development of service centers in Region 6, three of those. My question is, will this be replicated in other regions across Guyana?
Most definitely, this is a national platform we're building. Minister Zulfi Ali uh, has that responsibility of ensuring these centers are established, and he's working with a very tight time frame. So most definitely, this will be across the country, just like the beautification program, just like the markets program, and the landfill sites, the recreational facility, the street lighting. But today we are fortunate to be in Region 6 and to have this opportunity to speak comprehensively about Region 6.
Secondly, what role can the diaspora, particularly those from Berbice, can play in the transformation of the country?
You know, interestingly, a number of persons from the diaspora were at these meetings. I mean, every minister may be able to tell you that there was a diaspora representative, and they not only attend, they spoke at most of these meetings, and they're very impressed. I think members of the media, my friend from Kaichor News, you were at some of these meetings. You would have heard them speak about how impressed they are with the changes in Region 6 and the development in Region 6. I'm helping you with your headline, Diaspora Impressed with Development in Region 6. With the changes taking place in Region 6. And many of them pointed to the fact that they now want to return and offer this service and be part of this development. So, you know, but we have to also understand, very soon you'll be announcing a number of initiatives where the diaspora can participate. But it is not, it is a system. You know, sometimes we believe that if you're in the diaspora, you're ahead of the line or behind the line or the center of the line. We have to understand that sometimes, you know, there's some uneven requests that someone may want to invest, but they want to see the president before they invest. You know, imagine if everybody in the U.S. wanted to see President Trump before they invested. You know, so it's just the system, and that is what we want. The system to work, people to trust the system, and the system to deliver. All right? Thank you very much.
Mr. President, you spoke about special needs development for Region 6. The special needs school in New Amsterdam, the teachers there complain of the huge class, the size of the class that they have. And when you compare this to Georgetown, where some government schools, they have teachers there for persons with special needs, and the student, one teacher, one student, and you come to New Amsterdam and you have one teacher over 35
One
students.
teacher, one student, we have that.
Well, there might only be one such student at the school, but
Right.
there's a teacher.
Yeah, right. So you heard me speak about more teachers now being trained. And because we have expanded the training program, more training opportunities are now available for teachers. So the government role is to create that enabling environment, to create the opportunity. And that is what the government is doing, creating that enabling environment and creating the opportunities for these teachers to be trained. So we're going to pursue that so that that load, that workload can be reduced here because we want it to be an even platform across all regions. All right? Thank you very much. God bless all of you. And I wish all the technicians, the technical people, our cabinet members a safe journey back whenever they finish tomorrow, tonight, midnight, whenever. So God bless you guys and God bless this region. Let me say before I close, thank you to the people of Region 6 for your support, for the People's Progressive Party Civic, and for re-electing this government. You have our strongest commitment to continuing the development of this region. You have our love, you have our love, you have our support, and know that we are not a seasonal fruit. We are your blossom every day of your life. And you can depend on this blossoming tree, the People's Progressive Party Civic, to always be fruitful to the people of this region. Thank you and God bless you.